Hey y'all, let's take a look at polynomial division and there's a dirty word there, advanced. Let's move that. Unless it's a spelling error. It should have read like this. Funner. Polynomial division, as if it couldn't get any more fun. But it can, as you'll see in just a second here. Well, let's go back to an oldie. We know how to do this. In fact, go ahead and just pause and do the long division using these two parts here. So I'll wait. You go ahead and pause it. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And that was a nice straight line. 5x cubed minus 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. We know what to do, right? X goes into 5x cubed, 5x squared times, right? You multiply all the way. Okay, 5x squared, boom, that times negative 20x squared, and you subtract the entire thing. That always goes away, of course. Negative 2 minus negative 20 is the same thing as negative 2 plus 20, which is 18x squared. I drop that there. And x into 18x squared is just going to be 18x. This is always the same on the left. And then 18x times negative 4 is negative 72x. And we subtract the whole shebang. Always goes away. 5 minus negative 72 is 77. This drops again. 77 divided by x is 77. And we times that there. We get 77x minus 4. Good gravy. It's negative 308. All right. So we subtract the whole thing. We get 310 left over. That's going to be plus 310 over x minus 4. Remember those? Okay. I'm sure you do. All right. Let's move on to a new one, and you'll need to, we're going to do this exactly the same way. We're going to divide x cubed by y cubed, plus y cubed by x plus y, and we're doing this long form for a reason, okay, and you'll see why at a later date. So, all right, but let's go ahead and set it up like we would normally do, x plus y into, and what we're going to do here is we're going to do x cubed and kind of give ourselves some space, because like, what do? I mean, x cubed, does y cubed go next to it? I mean, what's the deal with that? Look in your book on page page 426, and you'll see what happens here, and we'll just give ourselves some space. But let's go first. X goes into x cubed. How many times? It goes x squared, right? So we're going to go ahead and do the multiplication now. X squared times x plus y. Well, we know that's always going to be the same thing. Then x squared times y is going to be plus x squared y, right? And we'll subtract that, of course, all the way across. This always goes away. Then nothing, which is what's there, minus x squared y is negative x squared y. Okay? We know what to do now, right? X goes into what? That, right? Negative x squared y. Well, what's the answer? X goes into negative x squared and negative x times, but there's also a y there, right? Okay, well, let's go ahead and do negative xy times x plus y. So negative xy times x, we know what that's going to be. It's always the same thing. And then negative xy times y would be negative xy squared. And we'll subtract that whole thing. Of course, this always goes away. Then the opposite of negative xy squared is just positive xy squared, right? Okay, how about that? All right, we are now going to divide x into xy squared, and x into xy squared gives us just simply y squared, right? Okay, now this is the point where we can go ahead and kind of pull over that positive y to the third power if we just want to kind of go something like this, plus y to the third, stick it there. And we're going to go ahead and multiply again. So y squared times x, of course, will be exactly the same thing. It's always the same. We'll subtract this. And then y squared times y will be y to the third. And when you subtract this, we know that always goes away. Then we have, I should have dropped the y to the third. That goes there, and that gets subtracted as well. So we have no remainder at all. So that goes in perfectly. In other words, x cubed plus y cubed divided by this gives you x squared plus minus xy plus y squared. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. Okay, let's take a look at the second example, which we're going to divide x cubed minus y cubed by x minus y. So note the difference. We're dividing cubed by cubed minus here instead of plus. So let's go ahead and set it up. We had x minus y here, and then let's make this a kind of a longer one there. And we'll do x cubed, and then we'll kind of like hang out with y cubed way down here somewhere. And we'll get to that in a second. It's going to be minus y cubed. There we go. Okay. And let's take a look. X goes into x cubed, x squared times. That's pretty straight up. And then x squared times negative y is negative x squared y. That gets subtracted. This goes away always, of course. The opposite of the opposite would be x squared y. Then x goes into x squared y. And the answer to that is plus xy. Right? Okay. So xy multiplied by both of those things. Of course, this will always be the same thing. Xy times negative y will be negative xy squared. And we'll subtract. Yoink. That always goes away. The opposite of the opposite, of course, will be xy squared. And then we'll go ahead and drop down here negative y to the third, like that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get x into xy squared. And the answer to that is just plus y squared. And let's go ahead and multiply this by both of these. We know the first thing is always going to be the same as it always is. And y squared times negative y is negative y to the third. And of course, those subtract out perfectly, and there's no remainder. So there we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and try A and see what you get for that one. There's also a B, so we'll try both of those. All right. Go ahead and pause it and try A. Okay. This is what we're going to have. Here we go. 8x cubed, and then we'll stick this 64y cubed way on down here for right now. All right, that's an 8. Okay, well, 2x into 8x cubed will be 4x to the second power, right? Okay, we multiply that by, we always get the same thing for the first term. Now it's tricky. Let's go ahead and do, we have 4 times 4 is 16, and then x squared times y is what we have there. And we will subtract, like always, gone always. Then we have negative 16x squared y, which is what we're going to be dividing 2x by. All right, so that'll be a negative. It'll be 16 divided by 2 is 8. X squared divided by x is just x. We have a y also. We good on that? Okay. We're going to multiply negative 8xy all the way through by both of these. Okay. And negative 8xy times this, a negative times a positive, will be a negative. 8 times 4 is 32. I have an x and I have a y squared. Doink. Okay. So now we're going to subtract again. That's, of course, always 0. The opposite of that will be 32 xy squared. And now we're going to drop plus 64y to the third. All right, here we go. This gets divided by that now. So 32 divided by 2 is going to be 16. X divided by x is 1. No need to write that. And then y squared will be what's left. Okay, if you hear that in the background, that's my cat trying to get in the door. All right, so 16y squared times that, of course, is going to be the same thing. 16 times 4 is 64. Y squared times y is y to the third. And notice again, these two just subtract out perfectly. So that is your perfect answer with no remainder. Okay, all right. Let's try the same thing with A. I hope you're getting the hang of this. Just we're doing it over and over again. By the way, notice something, that if you're dividing by 2x and by 4y, all this cubed stuff, you're getting numbers that look familiar. 4s and 8s and 16s that all have to do with 4s and 64s and all that. So, all right. All right, we'll try it one more time. Pause it. Okay, let's take a look here. We're going to go 8x to the third power. Crazy cat. Okay, so we're going to subtract this time negative 64y to the third power. Doink. There we go. All right. So let's go. 2x into 8x cubed is 4x squared. And we're going to multiply through. This is the first thing, of course. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. X squared times y is x squared y. Subtract. Then we get an opposite of a negative, which is 16x squared y. Then 2x into that will be 8. And then x squared divided by x is just x, and then a y is left over. So let's multiply again. Always get the same thing here. Okay, and 8 times 2. I don't know if you noticed this, but we got the same thing going right here. We're just going to do yet another subtraction problem, just like this one. Okay, so 8xy times that is always the same thing. Then 8 times negative 4 will be negative 32, and then that'll be an x, and then there'll be a y squared this time. This always goes away, of course. Gone, don't even need to think about it. The opposite of the opposite will be 32xy squared. This time we're going to just go yoink and get that down there. Okay, this is what we divide by that. So let's take a look. 2x into 32 xy squared will give you positive 16. And then x divided by x goes away. You just have a y squared now. All right. Multiply the 16y squared by both of these now. And of course, that's always the same. Now, 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. Y squared times y is y to the third power. And notice again that these are exactly the same. So that is it. There is no remainder. And that is your perfect answer. Okay. Keep that in mind. We'll work a little bit more of that in the future. So see you guys soon. Bye.